In this lecture, we will be discussing about structure of operating system. So, one of the previous lecture we already discussed about operating system structure, where we already discussed about multi-programming operating system and multitasking operating system. So, those were two types of operating system, but in this lecture what we are going to discuss is about the actual structure of operating system. So, we know that the operating system is a large and complex device, complex structure, and it has to be engineered carefully so that it is able to work properly, it is able to function efficiently and flexibly. Okay. So, there are many type of structures that have been followed from the beginning till now, and we will be discussing about many types of structure of operating system, and we will be discuss the advantage of those structure, and we will be discuss the disadvantage of the operating system structures. So, let us start. So, an operating system is a construct that allows the user application programs to interact with the system hardware. Since the operating system is such a complex structure, it should be created with almost care, so it can be used and modified easily. An easy way to do this is to create the operating system in parts. Each of these parts should be well defined with clear inputs, outputs and functions. So, first of all, let us go to the first structure that was followed in the designing operating system, which was used in the very beginning and also the old in operating system, which we called as the simple structure. So, the simple structure was the structure that was followed for the most of the operating system that were designed in very beginning, and this simple structure operating system did not have a very well defined structure. Okay. So, such operating systems do not have well defined structure and are small, simple and limited systems. The interfaces and labels of functionality are not well separated. So, we will discuss about that. MS-DOS is an example of such operating system. In MS-DOS, application programs are able to access the basic I/O routines. These types of operating system cause the entire system to crash if one of the user program fails. So, see the diagram, both are the diagram of a simple operating system, simple structure of an operating system. So, these have not well defined structure because it was a operating system, those were designed in the very beginning. So, the diagram we see here, this is the figure of a simple operating system structure, and this also same as this, that was followed by the Microsoft disk operating system, that is MS-DOS operating system. So, we know that the MS-DOS was an old operating system which was designed very long back, and this is the structure or the simple structure followed by the MS-DOS. So, see this diagram. So, here at the lowest level we have the ROM based device driver. So, think of this as your base hardware, think that this is your base hardware, and then on the top of this we have the device drivers, then we have the resident system programs, and then the application programs. So, we see that the device drivers, they have access to this base hardware, right. So, this device driver is access to this base hardware, and we see that the resident program, they have access to the device driver. This is accessed by this, and this also MS-DOS device drivers, this is access to this ROM based device driver, this base hardware. Okay. So, resident programs, they have access to the device driver as well as to the base hardware, and then even the application program, they have access to the resident program, okay, as well as the basic hardware. So, the application program, they have access to the resident program as well as the basic hardware. So, we see that the base hardware can access by all the things above it, the device drivers, the system programs and the application programs, everything can access the base hardware. So, we see that in this structure interfaces and levels of functionality are not well separated. So, we see that application programs are able to access the base IO routine, okay, and write directly to the display and the disk driver. So, that means application programs are able to access your base hardware directly without going through these layers below. So, they looks like they are kind of layered structure, but we cannot call it as a actually layered structure, because there is another structure of operating system called the layered structure, following a layered approach, which we will be discussing as we move on in this lecture series, which we will be discussing as we move on in this lecture series, and we will see how it is different from this one. Okay. So, even though this looks like a layered structure, it is not actually a layered structure, because all this layered have access to the base hardware. So, what happens is that such freedom leaves the MS-DOS vulnerable to error and vulnerable programs, causing the entire system to crash. So, when the user program fails, the entire system will crash. That means, if you are running a program here, if an application program is being run by the user, and since it is directly access this base hardware, if that program fails, then that entire system is going to crash, because it is having direct access. So, we see that it is not well protected, it is not well defined, and it is not well structured. So, this is not a very good structure, okay. And also we cannot blame the developer or the designer for the designing this, okay. We cannot blame the developer or any designer to designing this, because as we are talking about the MS-DOS operating system, so Microsoft Disk operating system as MS-DOS was actually written in the Intel 8088, and this Intel 8088, it does not provide a dual mode or any hardware protection. So, the developers or designers, they had no other option than to just leave this base hardware accessible by all the layers above, okay. So, that is why it is like this, and we see that this is not sufficient and this is not a good structure, okay, alright. Now, let us see another structure known as the monolithic structure, which is also kind of a simple structure, and this was followed by the earlier Unix operating system. A monolithic kernel is an operating system architecture where the entire operating system is working in kernel space, okay. The monolithic model differs from other operating system architectures such as microkernel architecture, in that it alone defines a high level virtual interface over computer hardware. The entire operating system works in the kernel space. In the monolithic system, this increases the size of the kernel as well as the operating system. So, a diagram that demonstrates the architecture of a monolithic system is as follows. So, in this monolithic structure, this is also a limited structure, and why is that? We will see that. Okay. Here we have the kernel. In the kernel, it has all these functionalities like virtual file system, inter-process communication, CPU scheduler, virtual memory, device drivers, dispatcher. All the functionalities is packed into a kernel. So, everything is actually packed into one level, and hence we call it a monolithic structure. So, this was followed by the earlier Unix operating system. So, now the problem is that too many functions packed into one level. You can see. So, and this makes its implementations and maintenance is very difficult. Let us say that you want to add something to this, then you have to change the entire thing, or you have to modify the entire thing. Or let us say you want to debug a certain functionalities in this kernel. Let us say that there is a problem in with your CPU scheduling. Okay. So, in order to fix that issue of CPU scheduling, you will have to touch this entire kernel. Okay. So, it makes the entire system difficult. So, this is the main disadvantage of the monolithic structure. So, this is an simple and limited structure followed by the earlier operating system like the earlier Unix. Now, we have talked about two simple structure from MS-DOS and the next monolithic structure from Unix operating system. So, we saw that both of them have some disadvantages. Okay. So, in order to solve this, they came up with another structure called the layered structure. So, this is the diagram of a layered structure. An operating system can be broken into pieces and retain much more control on system. In this structure, the operating system is broken into number of layers. The bottom layer, that is layer 0, is the hardware, and the topmost layer, that is layer N, is the user interface. These layers are so designed that each layer uses the functions of the lower level layers only. So, this simplifies the debugging process, as if lower level layers are debugged and an error occurs during debugging, then the error must be on that layer only, as the lower level layers have already been debugged. The main disadvantage of this structure is that at each layer the data needs to be modified and passed on, which adds overhead to the system. Okay. So, in layered structure, your operating system is divided into a number of layers. You can see this diagram. Like for example, here at the lowermost level or at layer 0, you have your hardware, then you have the layer 1, layer 2 up to layer N, and the topmost layer is the user interface. So, here as compared to the monolithic structure, all the functions packed into a single unit, but here we have broken down the functionalities into different layers and we have separated them like this. So, the main advantage of this is that it is easy to implement and debug this one. Why? Because every layer is having different functionalities. So, instead of keeping them all together, we have divided into layers, and let us say that one layer is having a problem. Let us say the CPU scheduling layer is again having a problem. Let us say CPU scheduling is resides in this layer, okay, layer 2 or layer 3. So, in order to debug that, we just have to look at that particular layer and debug that layer instead of going and digging into entire operating system. Okay. So, this is one of the advantages of this layered operating system. And again, we cannot say that this layer approach is the best. So, it has its own disadvantages. So, why? Like for example, one difficulty is when you design this layered structure, you must have to be very careful and specific in designing and deciding which layer should be above a particular layer and which should be below a particular layer. Okay. And another problem is may not be very efficient as compared to the other structure. So, why? That is because when one layer wants to use the services provided by the layer below it, the request has to go down below each layer one by one. So, it may not be very efficient as compared to the other structure. Why? So, that is because when one layer wants to use the services provided by the other layer or the layer below it. So, the request has to go down below each layer one by one. It may be late, it may not be very fast. So, one major advantage that the hardware is protected from above. So, that is the main advantage, the hardware is protected from above all the applications. So, the user cannot directly access to the hardware. Okay. Next is microkernel. This is another structure of operating system. From itself, we know that micro means what? Micro means small, it is something small. So, in this microkernel approach, we remove all the non-essential components from the kernel and we implement them as system user level programs. It just provide the core functionalities of the kernel. Okay. So, the main work of this microkernel is to provide communication between the client program and this service. Again, the advantage of the microkernel is that most of the programs will be executed in the user mode. So, we have already discussed what is user mode and what is kernel mode in the previous lecture, right. If a program is executing in user mode, even if that program crashes, the entire system is not going to crash. So, in this microkernel approach, since most of the programs is running in user mode, the crashing problem of the entire system is not happening mostly. So, this structure designs the operating system by removing all non-essential components from the kernel and implementing them as a system and user programs. This result in a smaller kernel called a microkernel. Okay. Advantages of this structure are that all new services need to be added to user space and does not require the kernel to be modified. Thus, it is more secure and reliable, as if a service fails, then rest of the operating system remains untouched. Next is modular structure or approach. Now, coming to the last one, we have modules. Modules means we follow a modular approach in the structure of operating system. It is using object oriented programming techniques. It is the most advanced techniques. So, we have a core kernel, it only have the core functionalities of the kernel. There are some functionalities like device and bus driver, scheduling classes, executable formats, file systems, loadable system calls, streams modulars, miscellaneous modules and so on. So, it is considered as the best approach for an operating system. It involves designing of a modular kernel. The kernel has only set of core components and other services are added as dynamically loadable modules to the kernel either during the runtime or boot time. So, it resembles layered structure due to the fact that each kernel has defined and protected interfaces, but it is more flexible than the layered structure, as a module can call any other module. So, we have discussed the structures of operating system, we have discussed the simple structure, the monolithic structure, the microkernel, layered structure and modules. So, I hope this was clear to you. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.